You're now listening to the Jazz and Whip FPL Snip, covering all of the English Premier League happenings of the weekend.
Do not scratch your eyes. You are really seeing the most extraordinary finish here.
All right, boys, we're back 2 in a week. What a big week it's going to be for the pod. How are you, Whip?
I'm good, man. Yourself?
Good, brother. Quick, short, sharp fire knockout this one, yeah? Get some FPL content up on the page after last few weeks of just EPL content.
Feels
so,
like nothing. Right.
Yes, it's been a while, man, now. It was a big week for everyone this week, actually. We had a pretty solid week and some massive changes. Is there anyone we want to shout out this week?
Well, can I shout out myself for having a good week for a change?
Still fucking, where are you? 8 or something?
Still 37.
Had a good week, boys. I'm still in 18.
I think if anyone just Captain Haaland, they had a good week. So it didn't really take much skill just to pick a good player. So,
yes, but I'll shout this out. Close the gap on Big Brett down to like 25 points pretty much. So that's the first two, where am I? Even Joseph below me, man. He's on 2 points below me. First to 8 is pretty much within 30 points on Jar. So that's a pretty big, a pretty small gap for such a lot of players there. So, yeah, it proves that a couple of good weeks kind of can turn things around pretty quickly. So, and how one bad week, i.e. Miller, can fuck you over pretty quick.
Fuck Miller.
So, what did you do wrong, Miller? Who'd you pick?
Woke up.
You woke up. Actually, team wasn't like terrible. You just kind of got stitched up.
Same as Remy captain Maddison, which is what I was going to do, and any other week that's a good call because fucking the big fucking Norwegian cunt decides to break records.
Oh, it keeps breaking fucking records.
It's so annoying.
All right, let's talk about some players that we're thinking, that I'm definitely thinking about this week anyway. We're going to talk about a striker. And I think we're going to talk about 4 midfielders. So I think the back line speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, the back line's pretty obvious for this week anyway. Yeah, your main men of Cancelo, James, and Trippier will get you through this week, 100%.
Yeah, so if you don't have all 3 of them, or you're missing one of them, that would be the transfer I'd look to do this week. Is probably bringing one of them 3 guys to fill out your back line. Let's start with the forward line. Obviously, Mitrovic going down injured has probably caused a lot of people to scramble for a new striker to partner up with Haaland up top. So, who'd you say?
Isaac when he's injured as well, so it's not.
Yeah. Great. So there's a couple of third or second choice strikers that are down injured. So I was thinking Martial after his performance against City wasn't half a bad shout.
Interesting shout, that's for sure.
You got Everton, Newcastle, and then you're into Spurs and Chelsea. So 2 tough games, but 2 decent games. What do you think?
Martial, I think it's sort of, you just got to wait and see if he starts. I think he probably should start. I think what we saw from him in pre-season was really exciting. And I think this is the first opportunity for Ten Hag to chuck him back in the team. And yeah, he scored 2 straight away. I think he just adds a bit, like when you just start with a natural striker, Rashford obviously scores all these goals from the wing, but he just keeps getting started at striker. So it's just interesting. And Ronaldo's probably not going to get anywhere near it because he's old and stinky.
Old and stinky. You heard it there first.
Poor bloke. I hope he turns around because obviously he's one of the GOATs, but
the only negative I see against Martial is you are going up against Everton and Newcastle, who are very good. Well, Everton's are very good at defence at the moment. Newcastle's not a bad team, followed by Spurs and Chelsea. So you do have not the easiest run of games, but he could easily, like you're saying, he'll definitely probably start up front for the next 2. I think maybe he dislodges Rashford finally because he's kind of been wanked for the last few weeks. So
Sancho's done nothing all year so far.
You reckon he dislodges Sancho?
I don't know. Sancho does add something a bit different, but I think Anthony's got that right side on. Like he's got that wrapped up. He's been unbelievable since he's joined.
Yeah, I think Anthony's locked. I think Bruno's locked in the 10. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably. I think he starts regardless, whether it's Rashford out or Sancho out. I think he's going to be starting up front, and it's probably a good shout as a third choice. Like for example, I've got Haaland and Kane up front, so that's a pretty heavy hitting front line.
Guys.
Yeah, so I'm looking for just a third guy. I had Mitrovic, did fuck all when I had him. Now I'm looking to replace him with someone, and Martial might be that pick. Do you have any other picks up front that you might lean to?
Well, I can say it now because Brett Verdon's already done his team for the week. So I'm looking at Solanke. He's got a decent run of fixtures. I know Bournemouth's are average, but if they're going to score, he's going to be involved with it, I think. And they've got Leicester, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham, Spurs, Leeds, and Everton before the World Cup. So I think there's plenty of opportunity for him to get a goal or two there. He's on penalty at 5.7, and he was like a midfielder. He had with the same opportunity to score like he has, he would be gobbling them up. So I think it's going to be Solanke for me as my third striker.
Well, I've got the list of the most transferred in for the week, and obviously it's Haaland, Kane, they're 1 and 2. But then you've got Tony, Firmino, Jesus, and then Aubameyang coming in. Yeah, and then followed by Martial.
I don't hate.
Yeah, I'm just sold on Martial's price point, man. He's at 6.9. That's a banger of a price point to have as a third choice striker. So,
do you have Salah in your team still? No.
No, I moved him out week 3. So, but all of my money got reinvested into the front line of Haaland, Kane.
Because a lot of my planning is going into bringing back Salah in game week 12 when City don't have a game.
Yep.
But whether or not he's a long-term option, because Liverpool still suck apparently, so it's a bit.
Yeah. Well, we were much better against Rangers. We did what I said to do and played with a double pivot, and that worked drastically well.
Rangers, I guess.
It was Rangers, so we'll find out this weekend when we line up against Arsenal to see how well that goes for us. But like I said, shit the bed against Arsenal. I think it's going to be a bad time for a few more weeks. So, moving to the midfield. Is Maddison a must?
Yeah, 100%, dude. That the form that he's in, I can't believe he's not in the England squad already. But every time I had a conversation with a couple of people the other night. Every time Leicester play, out of the 22 players on the pitch, Maddison carries the game all the time. Like, he's exciting. He just adds something different, and obviously he's scoring it for fun at the moment. I mean, hopefully, if you're going to bring him in now, you haven't missed his good period. Every time that I've brought him in the past, I've brought him in like now or next week sort of period, and he's just done me dirty and just flopped. So I'm glad to finally get on the end of a good Maddison run. So hopefully he can last, because he is one of those guys that's chasing a World Cup spot. So I think he's a must. Yeah.
Well, they've got Bournemouth up this week. Now, there was an interesting stat of Bournemouth played Liverpool and Man City and conceded 13 goals in 2 games, and neither Haaland or Salah scored any notable points in those 2 games. So, is it a trap? Is everybody just going to roll in on Maddison, pull him in, thinking, he's going to bank points and just Leicester roll Bournemouth, probably 4-0, and Vardy scores 3 fucking goals? Is that what's going to happen?
The Liverpool game and the City game, the goals come from the midfield, true. So just Bournemouth can
accentuate it.
Really man mark okay. So that, I know they lost 9-0 to Liverpool, but the goals didn't come from the main man, and same as City. So I think Maddison still has potential to have a field day if he can just get into those pockets of space, which he does so well.
Fair, yeah. And then they got Palace, Leeds, Wolves, City as the next kind of lineup. So it's not a bad lineup there. You got Palace and Leeds, they'll compete. Wolves, they should beat. And City, obviously, probably if you're going to look to move him, that's probably when you look to move him out.
Well, yeah, he plays City, and then I think he plays City, Everton, West Ham for the last 3 games before the World Cup. So I don't know.
Leave him to the World Cup. Yeah, it's not a bad shout.
And I think he could be a set and forget player for almost the whole year, I guess, because when you get back from the World Cup, I mean, he plays Liverpool early, but the fixtures really aren't that bad. You know what I mean? Like, he starts every week. He's gonna perform most weeks. He's ranked number 1 for influence out of all the midfielders. So
yeah, fair. I'm probably leaning, if I'm leaning on a midfielder rather than going from a forward, that's my way of the player I'm going to go for is getting him. The next guy I was kind of tossing up was Trossard.
I won by him being a wank pick this year, but clearly he just keeps proving me wrong. Why the fuck am I on this podcast? I just know. Yeah. Nah, he's a good shout. He played very well against Liverpool. Imagine if anyone captained him. That's unreal. But
yeah. He's got Spurs next week, or this week coming, so it's a bit of a tough game.
They kind of play the same shape, so it's just going to be. He's not really going to have the same opportunity to do what he did against Liverpool. Spurs don't play a high line; they play so deep, and they just played like wank against Arsenal. But I think if you can squeeze him in there, because obviously, how much is he? 6 point something, probably.
6.7 mil with Brentford, Forest up Spurs.
I mean, if you can fit him into that midfield, because I think a lot of people's midfield is looking very similar. They have either De Bruyne or Salah, and then like looks like Zaha and Maddison, to be honest. And then I think Martinelli takes up a fourth spot. So if you can somehow, I mean, I think a lot of people are going for Leon Bailey in there. But yeah.
Well, that was the other one I had was Zaha. Is he the best under $8 million midfield option?
I think so, probably at the moment. Let's have a look at his run that he's got.
His run pretty much to the World Cup is just he plays every
game. Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Forest, Fulham, Bournemouth.
Perfect, right? You couldn't ask for a better set of fixtures.
9 games, so like even after the World Cup, you can bring him right in until game week 18.
Yeah. So is he just worth, like, if you're going to look to get a midfielder in, you just go Zaha because he's going to be safe?
Yeah, he watch him do nothing over the next 5. But
typical Zaha. Fixtures look amazing. He's performed brilliant. You bring him in and then he blanks for fucking 6 weeks, then gets injured and you're stuck with him.
The toss-up I'm going between right now is, do I back Bailey against Nottingham Forest because Forest suck, or do I just pick Martinelli against Liverpool?
Probably Martinelli against Liverpool.
Martinelli plays on the left. That's where Trent plays. Martinelli in my team and captained.
Probably. Well, I guess the last big thing I wanted to kind of touch on was, is it worth overhauling your team to get KDB in? Because that's what it's going to take.
Probably not. I'd say probably wait because he's very expensive. And
or swapping, if you've still got Salah, swapping Salah for him.
Yeah, that's a good shout, like for like. But if you have to move things around and take negatives, then it's just a bit of a waste. Well, not a perform, but like, Foden outscored him on the weekend, even though KDB got 2 assists.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have Foden. I moved on him,
and plus you also got to consider the fact that they don't play in game week 12. So unless if you have players that he's going to be an out for me for game week 12, I'm bringing in Salah. So I don't know. There's lots to consider with De Bruyne. I think although he plays in the best team in the world and he is probably arguably the best player in the world, for FPL, you can sort of argue that he might not be worth it because you could use funds elsewhere. So,
well, last thing before we call it quits on a nice short, sharp pod, you brought up Haaland getting arrested. Do you actually think he's getting arrested?
No, I just said it as a joke. Getting 18th, I need something to go my way. But I don't know. He played again this morning and he scored twice.
Yeah, and he got subbed at 45 or something. Didn't he? Pretty early. I
don't know. No one's even talking about it. But
I think he got subbed early. Let me check.
They're playing Southampton at home. I am captaining him.
Yeah.
There's also a temptation to triple captain him, but I think I'll wait on that one. But yeah, I think there is a chance that Alvarez.
Yeah, he got subbed at half time after the first half.
Well, maybe not there. Maybe there's no chance Alvarez plays, but he is going for 4 hat-tricks in a row in home games. They got Southampton at home. That could be a bloodbath. Like, that could be 9-0.
Oh yeah, I'm honestly, I don't see them not playing him. I know they've always said they've got to have to rotate players and keep them fit and all this kind of crap. But when you've got a guy in this good a form, you can't bench him. You can't stop him. You just let him go. Let it be free.
He's generally probably, I don't know. I'd say it's almost between him and De Bruyne for the best player in the world right now. Like, it's crazy.
And it's crazy to have both of them in the same fucking team, right?
Their link up is so
Barca all over again. Fucking Iniesta, Xavi, Messi kind of bullshit.
They don't even take like stuff away from each other either. Like, De Bruyne come away with 2 assists on the weekend, and he just doesn't even look up. He just passes.
The goal that got me the most this morning, if you watch the first goal they scored, and I don't know if you've seen the highlights, it is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. He doesn't do anything drastic. Like, he's not pushing it through or running into space or leaping for anything crazy. He just stops. And
can't defend.
I don't know who it is out in the right that plays the ball. I think it might be Bernardo Silva. But he splits 4 dudes. And all Haaland does was the defender was obviously running in thinking he's making a 6-yard box dash. He stops on the penalty spot, made a good 5 yards on the defender. The defender was fucked because he was falling over himself, realising he's just left Haaland alone on the penalty spot. And he first time lashes it into the goal.
Yuck.
I don't know what's going on in defenders' heads right now, but I see do you remember when Salah came and had that season a few years back where he was unplayable and people just fell over themselves around him?
Yeah, but the hard part with that is, like, I know he scored, 34 goals or something ridiculous like that. He was unstoppable. Like, Haaland, just look at the size of him. Like, 8 games, 16 goals. Like, how do you stop him? Because he's rapid. He's rapid, strong. He gets assists. Like, obviously he turns like a fucking bus, but he's legit. He's a robot.
That's what I mean. Like, when that Salah season was going on, you're watching defenders almost stand off of him because they were so afraid of being made look dumb. That only amplified, I guess, is probably it amplified Salah's ability. They're doing the same to Haaland right now, where they're so afraid of being bullied by him and looking dumb. They stand off of him, which makes them look even dumber. And he just bangs in stupid, easy goals. And you're just like, why is nobody there? Like, he's the most dangerous man in the world on this soccer field, and you're just giving him 5 yards of space and a 6-yard block. Like, what are you... Of course he scored a goal. You're a bunch of idiots. And granted, they played, Shakhtar or something.
Copenhagen.
So, like, you weren't playing the greatest team to grace the field, but...
It was the first mistake.
To vote?
They didn't play Matt Ryan, which was the first mistake.
Well, I would gladly not bring in goals to that fucking game.
Literally.
So, yeah, just going to be bullied. But it'll be interesting to see what happens this week. I expect nothing more than probably a Haaland hat-trick again, 4 games in a row.
Fuck.
If you've got $20, throw it on a hat-trick for Haaland. You'll be having a good time. It's probably at $1.50 by now. But
maybe this is the Farmers League.
Yeah, well, that was the talk on it. He couldn't do it in fucking the Prem, and now he's come over here and just ruined everyone. Even the Butcher on Man U's team, he just got bullied all game. Did you see that little highlight, that little snippet of him getting pushed over basically in the box?
That's enough. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, quick and short part of the podcast. Hopefully we touched on some topics and some players to bring in. So,
hopefully we see some changes in the table this week as well. I think this is Mark looks like he might take the top this week. If I look right now, because I've seen Brett Burden's team and I know the negative points that he's taken. Mark will enter the game week on top by a point. So interesting.
What's Mark's team looking like anyway? Good.
Same as everyone else's, really. No, he's still got Jesus up there.
That's a solid front line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, it's a solid midfield front line. You've got KDB, Haaland, Jesus, and Kane. That's a very, very good 4. They're going to pull in some points this week, aren't they?
Yeah, he's got triple Arsenal, which could be, I don't know what he's going to do there.
Yeah, that's the same as me. I've got triple Arsenal, triple City.
This could be where he concedes a bit of points this week, unless he takes some hits. But he's got 2 Brighton players on the bench and De Silva from Brentford, and Brighton play Tottenham. So I don't know. It could be a tough week for Mark, but we'll wait and see.
I said that last week because I had my whole team playing each other. Arsenal with Spurs. I had a triple up of Arsenal with a Spurs player. I had City playing Man U. But it ended up turning out to be the best week I had. So maybe this is the same thing. The big guys stand up in those big games and do something magical. And like the Liverpool game worked out in my favour because obviously it was a 3-3 draw. So I got a bunch of points from the Brighton team. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a good week. Too bad all the games are Sunday morning, I think.
I'll have a look. Let's see.
You're all 12:30 or something.
The first game is Sunday, 12:30.
Yeah.
And then Sunday night. So
yeah,
I'll be watching them.
Big game in the morning. I think it's Monday morning. Is the Arsenal Liverpool game, and that'll be
2 a.m. I am not staying up for that shit.
That'll be a season-defining game for Liverpool. Lose that, and my prediction earlier in the week comes true, I reckon. So, yeah. All right. Good chat. Enjoy your night, and I'll get this all stiffed up and poured up, and hopefully up tomorrow. Peace. See you, my brother.
Bye.